Catholic Church has absolutely no problem letting you know that's our day. Okay? Islam. Now again, can't be emphasized enough. I am not a Muslim. I do not follow the Quran or Quran. I do not follow the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad or Muhammad. Okay? Even though you heard the term or Allah being used, it is not a reference to the deity worship by people who follow Islam. It is a correction of the pronunciation of a Hebraic term. Okay? But what was interesting, and again, it's food for thought, when it says even wood and stone, the thought that came to my mind, when you think about the wood, you think about the cross of Christianity. When you think about the stone, you think about the Kaaba of Islam. And I just think it's interesting that the majority of the Israelites who have been scattered to the four corners of this world find themselves in predominantly these particular religions. Matter of fact, one of the reasons why Elijah Muhammad even started Islam here in America and promoted it as being a black religion, it was under the motivation of the adversary. No doubt about that. Because the adversary knew that there was a time coming when the original Israelites will come to the knowledge of who they are. In other words, those lost identities would be now brought to their attention. Well, let's move on. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again. Egypt, symbolic of being in bondage. This time, however, with ships. Now stop. Think about it. What group of people in the history of mankind was taken from one place to another in ships, mind you, in ships, to serve as slaves? Think about that. And Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spoke unto you, you shall not see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Okay? Now let's tie some other things into this now. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 9 verse 25, which he says, and he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brother. So basically, this verse tells us that Canaan and Canaan's descendants are supposed to be slaves. That's what a servant of servant is. A slave is a servant. Okay? You can very well interchange these terms. Whenever you see the term servant and it derived from the word abed in the scriptures, you can very easily put slave there because it means exactly the same thing. Okay? So we know that Canaan was cursed to be slaves. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 3 and verse 8. Let's make a connection. It says, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land into a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites. Now, I often emphasize that it says the place of the Canaanites, because this is the only time in Scripture that that word makom is used, or makum is used, in the sense of the place of. Now, why is that important? Because every other place where the Creator mentions how he's going to bring them up and out, he's going to give them or put them into the land. Now, he's talking about putting them into a particular place in the earth, literally speaking. Now, when he says unto the place of the Canaanites, here's the thought. Instead of the Canaanites being a servant of servants, my people, Israel, will be the servant of servants, which is one of the reasons why you had the Assyrian captivity, or the Babylonian captivity, or the American slave trade. Okay? These are examples of his people, because of not the evil of the white man, because of our disobedience. But we're going to get to the white man. He said, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites, Heth descendants. Heth was one of the sons of Canaan. and the Amorites, Amor descendants. He was one of the sons of Canaan. And the Perizzites, and the Hivites, Hivi, he was one of the sons of Canaan. And the Jebusites, Jebus, he was one of the sons of Canaan. So he's going to put you in these places where they're supposed to be the servants. Now my people are going to be the servant of servants. Okay? Which is one of the reasons why we were enslaved. But let's move on. Let's look at something else. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, starting at verse 15. Once again, Moshe prophesied. It says, but Yeshurun. Now the term Yeshurun or Jeshurun, it means upright. Now this is one of the names that is used in reference to Israel, poetically or prophetically. It says, but Jeshurun wax fat and kick. You are waxen fat, you are grown thick, you are covered with fatness. Then he forsook Aluahi, or my mighty one, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They, when he says they, Moshe is referring to Israel. They provoked him, when he says him, he's talking about the Creator. They provoked him, Israel provoked Yahweh to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations. They provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Allah, to gods whom they knew not, to new ones that came up newly, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee, you are unmindful, and hath forgotten Al, or mighty one, that formed you. And when Yahweh saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, now this is what the Creator said, pay close attention. I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward generation, sons in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not mighty one. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. So now, keep that in mind. Let's go to what Romans chapter 10 teaches us, okay? Beginning at verse 16. Now the whole idea, let me emphasize before I read in Romans, the Creator is saying that he's going to move his people, Israel, to jealousy with the people that are not a people. He's going to provoke us to anger with a foolish nation. Now Romans chapter 10 and verse 16 reads this way. But they have not all obeyed the good news. For Ishayahu, or Isaiah, saith, Yahweh, who hath believed our report? So then, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yah. But I say, have they not heard? Talking about Israel. Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moshe said. Alright, now what he's about to do, he's about to interject the passage we just read in Deuteronomy 32 verse 21. So, and this is further evidence that the Torah or the prophets was not discounted by the New Testament believers. They knew and understood that in those words was the fulfillment that Mashiach referred to. But let's move on. Romans chapter 10 verse 19. For it says, first Moshe saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. But Yeshayahu is very bold and